Good morning. May we remind all the participants to register first. Do not forget that we have two sheets to sign in, one for the attendance and one for the food allowance. May we also remind the participants who are here in school to strictly adhere to the safety protocols as mandated by the IATF. Maintain 1 meter distance from your colleagues. Wear your masks and face shields and sanitize your hands regularly. Remember that through your cooperation, we can combat COVID-19. In a few minutes, we are about to start.
The multiple shocks that hit the Philippines, the COVID-19 health crisis, economic activities caused by extraordinary quarantine measures, devastating typhoons in November, and the global recession have unquestionably taken their toll on the overall health of our country. These emergencies have unquestionably left us crippled, with a barely breathing economy and an increasing number of despondent
Of all the sections in our society, nothing has been more greatly affected than the education sector. Indeed, both the learners and the educators in the Philippines have been placed on a standstill since March, giving birth to uncertainties and confusion. Now, more than ever, there is an urgent call for a more effective solution to address the growing concerns of our students and educators, and a more flexible adaptation to the demands of the changing times.
that is correct. However, another very
Indeed, instead of shying away from the discomforts of the new normal, we teachers have learned to welcome the changes and cater to the demands of the instruction of the young. Together, we strive to grow and learn with the flow, no matter how foreign the new modes of education are. Because after all, we, in the field of education, place the learning of our students as our utmost priority.
it is for this reason that the Biden National Council personnel mid-year service training for Catholic high schools, teaching and unteaching personnel with a theme fostering effective and flexible learning environment for ongoing professional and academic affairs.
This student affair needs to inculcate among us the importance of building a strong workforce and a formidable foundation by strengthening and empowering its core, the members of the Tobacco National High School family.
To start, let us invoke the presence of our Almighty Creator, the Master and Healer of all, through an audio visual prayer. This will be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and the Catholic City Hymn. Let's all rise.
I believe in the sun. I believe in the risen one. I believe I overcome by the power of His blood. Amen. Amen. I'm alive because He lives. Amen. Let my soul joy the road that never ends because He lives. I was dead in the grave. I was covered sin and shame. I heard mercy call my name. He rolled the sun away. Amen. I'm alive because he lives. Amen. Let my soul join the world and never end. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, every fear is gone. He holds my life in his hand. Amen. Amen. I'm alive because he lives. Amen. Amen. Let my soul join the world that never ends.
Ilagay natin ang ating kanang kamay sa dibdib at sabay nating awitin ng buong puso ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
The DepEd vision. We dream of Filipinos who passionately love their country and whose values and competencies enable them to realize their full potential and contribute meaningfully to building the nation. As a learner-centered public institution, the Department of Education continuously improves itself to better serve its stakeholders. The DepEd mission: to protect and promote the right of every Filipino to quality, equitable, culture-based, and complete basic education where students learn in a child-friendly, gender-sensitive, safe, and motivating environment. Teachers facilitate learning and constantly nurture every learner. Administrators and staff, as stewards of the institution, ensure enabling and supportive environment for effective learning to happen. Family, community, and other stakeholders are actively engaged and share responsibility for developing lifelong learners. DepEd core values: maka-Diyos, makatao, makakalikasan, makabansa.
formally open our program, let us listen to Mr. Winston Cargillo, Master Teacher 1 of the Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao Department and the Junior High School Chairperson of the core team. Sir? Excuse me po, Sir Winston, wala pong sound.
Okay. Repeat na lang po, ma'am. To our Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Dr. Jilly Roses, District 1 PSDS, Mrs. Agnes Bonaobra, our Principal 4, Mrs. Elena Kasik, and her 3 school assistant principals, Serens, Ma'am Jen, and Ma'am Bing, heads and OICs of the 8 junior high departments, subject group heads of the senior high department, our partner personnel in the non-teaching section, fellow core team staff, co-teacher participants, a very pleasant and safe morning to each of you, wherever you are in school or at home. Despite our apprehensions, here we are now starting off our in-service training as per school calendar. Likewise, its conduct is consonant with DepEd's commitment to ensure teaching and learning continuity while looking after the health, safety, and well-being of its learners. Teachers and personnel per DepEd Order number 12, Series 2020. First quarter of the school year may have ended, but perhaps you will agree with me if I say it has only been half one, as much of its work are yet to be done along actualizing academic ease, assessing student learning and grading. And this is just one of the many reasons this time we do need to come face to face to know how to do integrative assessment across other disciplines or subjects. This is just the tip of our Inset iceberg we need to unearth for 2 days. Actually, friends, ladies and gentlemen, the conduct of Inset as a professional development intervention in the school has long been a standing policy of our Department of Education to address collated teachers' needs from the IPCRF. In short, it is needs-based and not simply random thoughts. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya kinuha kung saan-saan lang, mayroon siyang pinagbasehan. We are all aware of how crucial our roles are as teachers in ensuring an enabling and supportive environment for effective learning. Thus, the need to develop professionally at the least through an inset. Teacher quality is vital in raising learner achievement and the realization of our DepEd's or department's vision, mission, and core values. In conclusion, I would like to share the statement of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, in 2018, that the quality of education system depends on the quality of its teachers, but the quality of teachers cannot exceed the quality of the policies that shape their environment in school and that guide their selection, recruitment, and development. Thank you very much and mabuhay. Advance Merry Christmas to one and all.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we have the presentation of the participants, let us first have an intermission number to be given by Alma Benitez, a grade 10 student, SPA.
Yeah. Parang may ulit sa aking mga mata. Ulit na pinangarap. Lang yun kahit iyong pag-ibig lumpi. Ang pagising niya maghawak yung mata na tayo sumayaw. Mo punta sa tingting, tutok dito sa aking dibdib. Ako ay tuluyan mo, ang gising mo'y unang ko. Dahan-dahan kumakampay, habang nakadantay, nagayakap sa bawat timbay. Ako ay tuluyan mo, ikaw ang kalulugan ko. Wala na akong nanaisip pa, kundi ang makapiling ka. At tumukoy sabay sa indayok ng duyan. Parang musika ang narinig. Tuwing mahal kita'y bumitaw sa iyong bibig. Tulong mo pang sinasamsi, di na umapagalaw bawat saglit. Nagkailang hiling na isabing darating ang tumangalaw na kilala ko. Maaari ka, tumating ang gusto ng araw at magbigay ng sigala. Ngayon sa buhay ko'y nangyang hanap ko ay ikayan mo. Ang bisig mo'y unang ko. Dahan-dahan kumatagumpay, habang nakadantay, nagayakap sa bawat tinday. Ako ay ikayan mo, ikaw ang kalulugan ko. Wala na akong nanaisip pa, hindi ang makapiling ka. Tumukoy sabay sa indayok na patuyan. Kapatid na may langit, iingatan ko hanggang sa langit tayo. Tumanda na ang lumipas, na pag-ibig ay ninigas pa. Ngayon at kailan pa man. Ako ay ikayan mo, ang bisig mo'y unang ko. Dahan-dahan kumatampay, habang nakadantay, nagayakap sa bawat tinday. Ako ay ikayan mo, ikaw ang kalagayan mo. Wala na akong nanaisip pa, hindi ang makapiling ka. At tumukoy sabay sa indayok ng duyan mo.
Thank you very much, Alma. To do the honor of presenting the participants from the junior grade school, we have Ma'am Asteria Velasco, Master Teacher 1 and Officer in charge of the English Department. And to present the participants from the senior grade school department, we have Ma'am Eva Israel, Teacher 3 and Officer in charge of the sports track. Madam.
A pleasant and peaceful Monday morning, everyone. May I present to you the participants to this two-day Inset. May I start with the junior high school. For the Filipino department, we have 38 teachers plus the department head. So we have 39. For the English department, there are 39 participants. Math department, 42. ESP has 22.
MAPI department 44, Aralpan has 34 participants, PLE has 44, and the science department has 42 participants. May I also present to you the participants from the NTP, which includes the principal 4, 3 assistant principals, and the non-teaching personnel composed of 48 employees. We have a total of 358 participants from the junior high school. And for the senior high school, I think there are 101 participants. Good day, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Velasco. Now, to present to us the backbone of this two-day activity, may we call in Ma'am Salve Maria, Assistant Principal 2 for Junior High School Academics. Ma'am.
Good morning, everyone, wherever you are. A while back, Ms. Velasco presented the overall expected participants, but the truth is only few are here in the school. All the rest of the junior high teachers are attending this seminar virtually. So wherever you are, good morning. For all the senior high department, not one is here because they are excluded from this physical presence in the school, but they also are attending virtually. To our participants there at the Bongon Hall, since the teachers present are only few, so we merge them all at the Bongon Hall, and so most of you are there. So my task is to present the core team. These are the people, actually these are the wings of this inset. I take pride this year, and I am indeed honored to present this work, very hardworking members of the core team for staff development. This year, it's headed by Mr. Winston Cargullo, Master Teacher of the Junior High Department, who is on quarantine. That's why he gave his remarks from home. His co-chair person for the core team is Mrs. Concepcion Barameda of the senior high school. And she is here with us because she is the chairperson for the senior high. Then these two are assisted by the two secretaries, the ever hardworking Mr. Glenn Bermilio of the senior high department, and that of the junior, we have Mrs. Asuncion Longa. Mrs. Asuncion Longa Bola. Now, for the overall team, originally there are only existing 9 master teachers for the junior high department. But now it has fully expanded. The newly appointed reclass master teachers, we have the Magic 13. So meron po tayong dagdag na 13 na master teachers who are now with the team. Then we have also newly appointed master teachers, natural vacancy 2. So the existing 9 plus the magic 13 plus the natural vacancy appointed MTs 2. For the junior high department, we now have 24 master teachers. For the senior high school, all the MTs are currently the subject group heads. So most of them are the subject group heads of the senior high department. With, of course, addition of 2 members, Mrs. Eva Israel, who is the coordinator for PE, and we have Mr. Glenn Bermilio. Now, the core team is not really just meant for master teachers, but as well who are also for those who are very hardworking, in fact, and always willing to give a share and a hand every time there will be the professional development through the in-service training. So these people have been working in too short a time to make this year's inset very possible. So these people have been very flexible and effective, epitomizing this year's theme, fostering effective and flexible learning environment for optimum professional and academic gains. Now, thank you very much, and thank you for all your support. Happy inset.
Thank you very much, ma'am. This time, to formally welcome us all, we have a
Good
member
morning,
of the
everyone.
Baco National High School family, our principal for Ma'am Elena Tassi.
Ah, thank you, Ma'am Larnie. Ma'am Larnie. Sino kasabay ng S? And the other one, Dr. Am I clear? Naririnig ba ako? Okay. Dr. Julie Roses, our Chief Curriculum Implementation Division. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Dr. Agnes Bonaobra, Public Schools District Supervisor, District 1. Thank you to ma'am and our welcome to you, warm welcome to you. Your first exposure to us, especially during this virtual inset. My co-workers and managers of the Inset, our three assistant principals, Bing, Australia, January, and Rance Balingbing. Happy birthday, Rance. God bless you. With our dear department heads, subject group heads, administrative officers, the section heads, our division and IT team, and of course, the staff development team, our organizers of this major inset. Gratitude for all your efforts and sacrifices in making this inset realized. Worth mentioning is, of course, the effort of our assistant principals. Our support staff, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. Intelligent people are always ready and eager to learn. That is from Proverb chapter 18, verse 15. We cannot deny the fact that it is intelligence, the ability to learn or understand or to deal with new or trying situations, as Merriam-Webster defines it, that is one growth core for professionals or even non-professionals. Professional and personal success usually requires both cognitive and emotional intelligences. Whatever one's status is, learning is a non-stop process, especially to those whose stewardship is for the growth and development of the Filipino learners. DAPAG teachers, the Tabaco National High School teachers, are the frontliners in providing quality education, especially in these very difficult times, pandemic, and the onslaught of the three typhoons. Every school has challenges. Say, for example, in Tabaco National High School, as the largest secondary school in Bicol region. These are the motivation of learners, commitment and competence of the teachers, effectiveness of school management, availability of school resources, educational facilities, learning delivery modalities, trainings, learning action cells, and adherence to the Philippine professional standards for teachers in the implementation of the minimum essential learning competencies. Dear friends, these last two challenges will be addressed through this week inset, featuring collaborative integrative assessment and have a hands-on experience through a workshop on integrative assessment for school head, assistant principals, heads, and teachers. to be ably discussed by our beloved and very competent CID Chief, Ma'am Jill, while revisiting the duties and responsibilities of the non-teaching personnel to be shared to us by our dear Jan Ruwari, Assistant Principal 2 for Learners Operation and Support, Information Communication Technology, focusing on the use of Google Apps for teachers, and enhancing the ICT skills for the non-teaching personnel to be run by Mir Kasim, Jules Cargulio, Jeff Stape, Jason Borabo, and Cars Coyote, all IT experts. Bridging the gaps, promoting solidarity to foster a positive learning climate in the workplace by Reverend Father Agot Abril, School Director, Catholic Central School, and other essential works and duties to be finished or completed by the teachers, the non-teaching personnel, and officials before the year ends. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to this mandated activity per Deped Order number 007-2020 entitled School Calendar 2020-2021. As your school principal, I am delighted to have you all with us physically and virtually to participate and learn a lot that will capacitate each one of you, each one of us, to contribute to the achievement of the Department of Education goal, that is holistically developed learners with the 21st century skills. Despite of the risk that we are experiencing right now, we have not wavered our commitment for our personal and professional development. We have numerous tasks to do. Here we are gathering, serving as a reminder to us all, just how important our work is, especially after the series of typhoons and the debilitating effects of COVID-19 virus. Tabaco National High School is committed to be proactively, positively, and continuously provide an enabling healthy environment in the workplace to achieve unity of purpose, action, and result. Our goal now, my dear friends, is to continue learning, to continue serving the best we could, the best we could offer to our beloved learners. In this inset, let us prepare ourselves to be challenged, excited, inspired, and motivated to deepen our understanding and appreciation to the new topics, knowledge, and insights that matter most to us as teachers of Tabaco National High School. Once again, my warm welcome to each one. It's wonderful to have you all in this very educational endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. At this juncture, we shall listen to the message of the new Public Schools District Supervisor of District 1 Tabaco National High School, Ma'am Agnes Obra.
Ma'am, second. Okay. Dapat full video. Okay.
Thank you, Miss MC. To the very competent and motherly CID Chief, Ma'am Ginny Roses. To the energetic and proactive Principal 4 of this school, Ma'am Ellen Tasik. To all department heads, master teachers, teaching and non-teaching personnel, pleasant and warm morning. Warm maybe because of the weather, but it's because by the incredible warmth of your reception and generosity. It's nice to be back at Tabaco National High School. Today's mid-year in-service training reminds me of the famous Benjamin Franklin. He said, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn." Being involved in a training for teachers in the effectiveness of an in-service training in school act as a catalyst for teachers' effectiveness. It is also a way of updating teachers' skills and knowledge for improving teaching and learning, which lead to a better thinking job performance. This goes with today's theme, fostering effective and flexible learning environment for optimum professional and academic gains. The need for training and education, particularly for teachers, are important for optimum professional and academic gains. Teachers are crucial in implementing educational reforms in accordance with the aspiration of the national philosophy of education. The success of a school curriculum is closely related to its effective implementation. In today's situation we're having, the need for in-service training in school, maybe virtually or face-to-face, limited face-to-face scheme, is getting more attention for teachers to be equipped with new knowledge and skills, for them to face new challenges and reformation in education. Be adaptive and flexible to any learning environment. Through in-service trainings, the professionalism of teachers was developed. Efficiency, ability, knowledge, and the motivation in their professional work was improved. In-service training offers one of the most promising roads to improvement of instruction. It includes goal and content and the training process and the context. According to a researcher, in-service training is the totality of educational and professional experiences that contribute toward an individual being more competent and satisfied in an assigned professional role. Therefore, it focuses in creating learning environment which enable teachers to develop their effectiveness for optimum professional and academic gains. In this aspect, in-service training for teachers is the driving force behind much change that has occurred in the teaching and learning. It is vital that teachers has keep up to date on the most current concepts, thinking, and research in their field. So in order to promote excellent and effective teaching and learning environment for students, we have this in-service training. The very famous, we cannot give what we do not have. So we have conducted or included this in-service training by virtue of Depth Ed Order number 7, Series 2020, otherwise known as Implementing Guidelines on the School Calendar and Activities for School Year 2020-2021. So, teachers, friends, enjoy your Inset. Have a good day and Merry Christmas in advance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Indeed, teachers are very important in the success of the school, the curriculum, and the entire learning process.
To give us an overview of this activity and to give us an insight to the things and learnings that are to come, may we call in Mrs. Maria Concepcion Barameda, Master Teacher 1 and Senior High School Chairperson of the party.
Yeah, kasi ma'am sa message niyo.
Good morning to the two SDO leaders who are here today with us, the school's administrative and management staff of the junior and senior high department, teaching and non-teaching personnel, fellow core team staff, and friends. As mentioned by my co-chair, Don Carbulio earlier, this Inset is a built-in professional intervention for development. As such, topics are based on needs assessment of the core behavioral and functional competencies of the RPMS and scheme of delivery are responsive to the current situation under the new normal. This year's mid-year inset is the product of the close collaboration and planning of the school's master teachers, subject group heads, department heads, and OIC, and TP representatives, and school assistant principals of both junior and senior departments, in close coordination and supervision of our school principal, Ma'am Tasik. One whole day conference workshop and another half-day meeting were convened for this purpose. This time, the stretch of 5 days is divided into two. The first 2 days are on-site virtual because topics are decisive and funds are charged to MOOE subject to prompt liquidation and requirements such as attendance and other documentary evidence of conduct. Today is day one. Just shortly after a 15-minute break, the NTP sessions at TVL Lab behind BL shall be run by Mrs. Ruaring, who will revisit their duties and responsibilities, while Ms. Carijoy Cleope will guide them through enhancing ICT communication skills in the 21st century. We teachers will have the first session with Dr. Julie Roses, our CID chief, on contextualizing academic ease and understanding and translating DepEd Order number 31, series of 2020, which provides the interim guidelines for assessment and grading. After lunch, at 12:45, and in preparation for the workshop, teachers will regroup by grade level according to their subject combination and will report to their designated rooms. Dr. Roses still leads the workshop on integrative assessment. While at work, department heads and OICs will take 2 grade levels within their combi groups for supervision and technical assistance. Outputs are expected to be presented and submitted at the end of the day. On day two, after an MOL from 9:15 to 2:15 with health and lunch break in between and unbreezing activity, it will be devoted to knowing ICT updates and Google Apps to keep abreast and combat challenges along ICT under the new normal. Our very own school IT, Mrs. Jolma Carbulio, together with the SDO ICT team, Ms. Kasim, Mr. Jeffrey Sape, and Mr. Jason Burabo, will handle the session. At 2:30 in the afternoon is Reverend Father Augusto O. Abril's session on bridging the gaps, promoting solidarity to foster a positive learning climate in the workplace. This is a bit reflective in the sense that we take time to pause this about our own actions and what we value in this difficult time. Day 2 will end with this session. The next 3 days for all the teachers participants shall be done off-site or at home supported as usual with IWAR or individual work accomplishment report. Team building, which aims to concretize the input of bridging gaps and promoting solidarity, is cancelled as it requires much physical contact among participants. It shall be done on a later date when it is safe and feasible. This is all the content package for this mid-year Inset. It is our hope that you will find this 2-day on-site virtual training fruitful. Thank you everyone and stay safe and tucked in your workroom.
Thank you, Ma'am Ching. This time, Mrs. Nita Bulacan, Master Teacher 2 of the Filipino Department, will present to us the house rule.
Good morning, everyone. May I give you the house rules to be observed on this 2-day in-service training. Please listen carefully. On the on-site, meaning those participants who are in school. Number 1, listen actively. Follow the flow and focus. Refrain from multitasking as it affects focus and effectiveness. 2, turn gadgets on silent mode. 3, be punctual. Be at the venue at least 15 minutes before the appointed time. 4, do not make any noise that may distract the speaker and or your co-participants. 5, any questions raised during the seminar must be properly raised. Speak clearly to be heard by remote participants. 6, sign in the attendance sheet responsibly for 2 days. 7, workshop in breakout groups. Be and share ideas openly with utmost regard for what one has to say. Be time conscious, especially on day 1 when an output is expected to be submitted at the end of the day. And lastly, strictly observe the time allotted for health and lunch break. Now we go to the remote. These are participants who are at home. Number 1, listen actively, follow flow and focus. Be punctual. Enter the meeting room 15 minutes before the appointed time as soon as the link is given. 3, inside the meeting room, make sure your microphone is turned off. Participants may turn their microphones on if they wish to speak. If so, make sure that the microphone is duly turned off once again after speaking. 4, cameras be turned on for the duration of the time. 5, any questions during the seminar proper may be raised by turning on your microphone and addressing the speaker. If not, you may use the chat box to send a message. However, this method may not guarantee that the speaker will see your question immediately after all. Okay? So again, good morning everyone. Happy and Inset.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Seat. We shall now proceed immediately to the meat of today's activity. Today's session for our teaching personnel is entitled Contextualizing Academic Ease. To give light to this topic, we are very honored to have with us today an educator who embodies flexibility, effectivity, dedication, hard work, and humility. Dear teachers, let us all welcome Tabasco City Division's CID Chief, Dr. Jilly Roses.
Good morning, everyone. So it's Inset week, and we know the importance of this activity because there are really things that need to be uh, discussed and then given time, especially at this pandemic time. So I want to thank the Tnhs family for the invitation. So this morning, I am tasked to discuss two things. One is contextualizing academic is, and then another topic is on integrative assessment. Okay. So what's the legal basis for this academic is? Now, we have OUCI Memorandum number 307, Series 2020. What do we mean by OUCI? OUCI means Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum Implementation. So this was issued October 30, 2020, and was the title of this issuance, Suggested Measures to Foster Academic Ease During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Okay, so according to DepEd OUCI memo, there are suggested measures to foster academic ease during the COVID-19 pandemic. So according to the issuance, the need to adjust the assigned tasks for the learners is anchored on the fact that learners have long been disengaged from academic learning since the onset of the pandemic last March 2020. So with this, there is a need for us teachers, school heads, DO personnel, particularly the CID, to ensure that the tasks are or will not cause stress on the part of the learners. Kasi matagal silang hindi umawak ng libro, hindi umawak ng papel at ballpen. So, we need to do something so that they will not be surprised, they will not be stressed, okay, on the tasks that we are giving them. So by ensuring flexibility in teaching and learning, stress and burden of learning through the multiple distance learning modalities offered by DepEd will be reduced even as the learners are guided to focus on the most essential learning competencies. So we need to be flexible in teaching and learning. Okay, so we already know that in every school, there are different distance learning modalities. Okay, so we do not tell all our learners that they need to have the online distance learning. So we let them choose. The parents chose as to the modalities that they are going to have for the entire school year. So depende po baga ano, yung may mga laptops, internet connectivity, then they may opt or they opted to have the online. But for those who do not have the gadgets, those who do not have the internet connectivity, then they go for the modular. Okay. So ito po, this is ensuring that they are not stressed, they are not burdened on the distance learning modalities kasi sila ang pumili. Okay po. So, now, to help reduce stress among the learners, the following are recommended. So schools may determine activities contained in the self-learning modules or learning activity sheets for the first quarter, which may be declared as optional so that learners are enabled to focus only on the most essential activities while allowing the first fast learners to perform additional tasks. Okay. So it is expected po, although this is very specific na first quarter, but we can do this recommendation from the second to the fourth quarter. Okay. So what should teachers do? Now, teachers po, before you distribute the modules, please go over the modules and determine what are the learning tasks that are appropriate to my kind of learners. So, hindi po gustong sabihin na yung lahat na nasa module, sasagutan yon ng mga bata. Because if that is the case, then the tendency is really for the learners to be stressed. They will be having problems. They will find difficulty. Okay. So we all know that we only have one module, one type of module. But it does not necessarily mean po na yung module na yon will be or the contents of the module, the learning task will be for all the learners. So even if we are in pandemic time, even if we are teaching them using the different modalities, distance learning, walang face-to-face, but we ensure po that our learners would do the tasks that are appropriate for their level, for their ano ba? Okay, for their intelligence. Ano po? So more or less you know your learners. So before you ever distribute the modules, go over the modules. Okay, sabi dito, there's an example here in order to reduce stress among the learners. One example is on pre-test or post-test which with 6 or more items, learners may answer 5 items only. So how can you do that? How can teachers do that? The teachers would first go over, read the entire module. So kung nakita mo na ay dapat ito lang ang sagutan ng learner ko, so you do it. How are you going to do it? Now, the module that you are going to distribute should be coupled with instructions. So for example, pre-test, answer only, okay, 1 to 5. Okay, and then sabi pa dito, the additional enrichment activities in the SLM may be for the fast learners. Okay, so really, there is a need for teachers to really go over, determine, read all the learning tasks there, and then instruct to your learners what of the or which of the learning tasks will only be for your type of learners. So magbabari po. Kahit na mayroon kayong one class, pero it is hetero, manglain-lain ang level of intelligence. Then, you should also give instructions as to what learning tasks are for particular learners and what learning tasks are for the fast learners, for example. So, matrabaho pa din ang teachers. Okay. So, sana po, hindi lang natin i-distribute ang modules and then pabayaan ka na sa mga aki, bahala na kayo, but we need to go over, we need to ensure that our particular learners are answering the tasks that they can do. Okay. Sabi baga natin, even if it's pandemic time, curriculum, K-12 curriculum is still the same. One of the features is learner-centeredness. Iyo po. Okay, hindi subject-centered. So, learner-centered. So, in the task that we are giving them, we need to think of their capabilities. Okay, so this is the first recommendation. Now, another recommendation is, okay, ito. Sabi dito, for key stage 1, sino po ang key stage 1 learners? Kinder, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So for a grade level with one teacher in a section, handling all the subjects like in grade 1, the teacher may consider interdisciplinary integration to moderate the activities to be accomplished. So imagine mananggad may modules, ang aki na, pero ang subjects ngaya, 5, 6. Okay, and to take, we noted the modules for quarter 1. Araling Panlipunan, for example, has 60 pages for 1 week. So ganun po ang situation. Kaya nga po, for the second quarter, we already did something at the division office. So some of you even are writers, some of you are language editors. So we limited the activities, the number of activities. Kaya talagang nakatipid po. Pero it's not the pagtipid. Hindi po yun ang unang-unang purpose. But the very purpose for reviewing the modules for quarter 2 is to ensure that our learners will not be overburdened. So we want to ensure na hindi sila na-stress with the so many learning tasks, so many activities for 1 week. Sabi nga po ng isang writer when we had the review, sabi niya, pag Friday, she has a kinder child. Sabi daw ng bata, pag Friday, tuwang-tuwa daw ang bata, sabi rin ng bata, thank God, it's Freedom Day. So imagine, Freedom Day. Kasi hirap man talaga. Hirap man. Kaya, DepEd is really doing something to reduce stress and anxiety of our learners. So ito na po, for Key Stage 1. Sabi dito, there should be interdisciplinary integration to moderate the activities. Sabi dito, ang integration daw will be based on the development of reading and writing skills and numeracy. So back to basic. Ano po? So in this particular activity, teachers will really be doing something. Yes, may module kayo, pero you need to be working in order to limit the tasks. Para dito lang maka-focus sa reading, writing, and numeracy. Okay. Now, what about for key stages 2, 3, and 4? Ano po ang key stage 2? Grades 4, 5, and 6. Ano po ang key stage 3? Grade 7, 9, 10. 9 and 10. What about key stage 4? Yung senior high school. Okay, sabi po dito, for a grade level with several teachers handling the subjects in a section, like in grade 7, the teachers may negotiate for interdisciplinary integration to moderate the activities to be accomplished across the SLM or self-learning modules or learning activity sheets. So, there should be integration. Anyway po, mahirap mag-integrate ng lessons. Pero po, mamaya, we are going to talk about integrative assessment. So at least dito po sa assessment, hindi na tayo magbibigay ng 8 assessments. Okay. So we do integration. So mamaya, that will be my second topic. Okay. So another measure to reduce stress and anxiety of learners. So additional learning activity sheets may be made available for the fast learners who need enrichment activities. Okay. So ano po ang gustong sabihin? Doon po sa module, sa learning task, we think of our average learners. We even think of our not so good learners. So yung ibigay po natin, limited learning tasks. What about your fast learners? So, di ba po, you were advised to prepare learning activity sheets, thinking of your learners. So, the activity sheets that you did, the teachers did, will be given to the learners. Okay, as additional learning sheets, activity sheets. Okay. Now, another measure. Now, for the succeeding quarters, learning tasks in the SLMs or other learning materials may be streamlined to ensure that learning development is manifested and that activities or exercises sufficiently develop the learning competencies leading to mastery, of the most essential learning competencies or MELCs. Okay. So, gusto sabihin po nito, we strip or we remove, we delete those activities that are not very, very essential. Kasi po minsan, isang, eto kaya yung milk. And then, dakulon sa ng learning tasks, learning activities. Okay, so what the teacher should do, is that they decide alin ang mga duplications ng mga learning activities. Ano ang mga duplications ng mga assessments, mga formative assessments. Okay. So with that, we are able to reduce the stress among our learners by a request. Nag-lipstick ako. Okay. So another measure to reduce stress and anxiety among our learners. Now, schools should put premium on the instructional management task of teachers in their workload or assignments. For example, teachers should not be burdened on printing and distribution of modules. Now, may I dwell on this a little? Now, in Tabaco City, we are not letting our teachers print the modules. We have our printer, we have our service provider. But along po the distribution of modules, I think there's a need for us to contextualize this one. Okay, kasi po, we know that teachers it's important for teachers to distribute the modules. But in this case po, it's not distributing the modules to every household. So just like what the Tabaco National High School had been doing, they chose a strategic place, yung sentro, for all of the parents to get the modules. Okay. Hindi naman ito siguro, this not giving overburden to our teachers. Kasi it's still our duty to do this. Besides, when you are there during the distribution and retrieval of the previous module, you are going to learn some or to know some problems. You'll be meeting problems. Let's say, kung ano ang problema ng bata as told to you by the parents. Okay. Now another, there's a need to support the mental health, socio-emotional well-being of teachers, students and their parents, or learning facilitators. Okay, so this should be done by organizing group wellness sessions and the like. So alam ko po na in the basic education learning continuity plan of the schools, you have activities along this, along support to mental health, socio-emotional well-being of teachers. Okay, alam ko, you have activities along this. Okay. Now, the next is time allotment for the completion, submission of activities, tasks of learners may be reconsidered. Okay. So, hindi po gustong sabihin, now, I think this is more on the summative test. Hindi po gustong sabihin na yung summative test, kung nakaschedule ngayon on every Friday, kailangan nang isubmit. Now, the parents can message the teachers concerned that they will have to submit the summative test ngayon na on a particular day. So hindi po natin pipilitin na talagang every Friday magko-collect na kayo ng summative test. So summative test may be written output or maybe performances or products. Kasi minsan mahirap ang mga products na pinapagawa natin. Another, we also need to determine the ability of our learners. So everything should be contextualized so that we will be able to foster academic ease among our learners. So tingnan po natin ang situation. Noon nga nag-face-to-face, nahirapan kayo. Di po ba, teachers? Ang daming hindi nakakamit ng deadlines. How much more ngayon na they are on their own. They are learning on their own. But we hope that our teachers are still monitoring the teaching and learning delivery. Now, I remember po, the division office issued a division memo. And that's all about monitoring modular distance learning. Bakit po nakasiruin sa monitoring of the modular distance learning? Kasi po baga, ang online, you monitor during the synchronous teaching and learning delivery. Okay, pero po ang modular, it's difficult to determine how is my learner going on. Okay, so doon po sa division memorandum, kasi po ako ang gumawa because it's my concern with the CID, talaga po ang daming gawain ng CID ngayon. Okay, but we do our best to be able to ensure that we also do our functions and tasks. Okay, so I made a tool. Doon po sa tool, sana po binigay yung sa inyo ng inyong school head. Ano po? In that tool, there's monitoring the modular distance learning. First column, yung name of learners. Second column, the date monitored and time. And then another column, the platform. Paano ba pag-monitor niya? Nag-call ba siya? Nag-message ba? May chat group ba? Or nag-home visit? Okay. And then there are still other things in the monitoring tool. But the bottom line there is, kailangan po na mag-monitor ang teachers during the days when the modules are being done by the learners. Okay. So may mga problema sa monitoring. Like, wala naman yung signal doon. Okay, sa hindi kayo makatext. Especially ngayon, nagbagyo, tapos walang kuryente. Okay, may mga, ano man ngayon sinda, may mga cellphones, pero dahil naman nakaka-load, dahil ka mo maka-chat. Okay, so we are giving you we are giving you, please think on how you will be able to monitor your learners. Okay. Dito sa Tnhs, mahirap, di ba, Ma'am Bing? Kasi, ang ano ngaya, let's say, English, puro siya ngaya Monday morning. Mahirap. Okay. Kasi imo-monitor mo ngaya yung 5 mong classes na tinuturuan. Kaya po siguro, we also modify our schedule. Siguro po, i-schedule natin na parang face-to-face. Kasi ngaya, Monday morning, English. Let's say, sections ngaya 1 and 2. Then, on the next day ngaya, Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, English naman ngayon na sections 4 and ganun po. So, I think we do that para you will not be monitoring. Let's say ngayon ang klase mo ay 5 times 50. So, you'll be monitoring, ilan po, Wabing? 5 times 50. 250. It is impossible for a teacher to monitor 550 learners in particular days and time. Po ba? Kasi ganun tayo ngayon. So we please try to find out how are we going to really monitor all our learners. So parang magbabago tayo ng schedule. So parang gawin na natin yung dati natin na face-to-face. Opo. Okay. So, we go to the next. Learners and home learning facilitators found to be experiencing difficulties shall be provided with additional support by the teachers, learning support aids. Okay, so may example po dito. A household may have at least 2 learners across the different grade levels from K to 12 who are academically challenged and may not be able to do the self-learning modules or learning activity sheets activities independently. Such households may be prioritized for visits by learning support aids. Okay, now let's talk about learning support aids. Actually po, merong DepEd order nito na pwedeng mag-hire ng learning support aids. Okay, may bayad considering the minimum wage of the region. Okay, so your school can decide if they are going to be hiring learning support aids. Pero po ang division office, the budget decided or found out that there's a budget for 50 learning support aids. Pero po, ang ipipriority po ng division ay ang elementary, particularly K to 3. Kasi po talagang ang hirap ng distance learning for kindergarten, for grade 1, 2, and 3. But your school can decide. If they have fund for this, then they can hire learning support aids. Okay. Now, for quarter 1, so there's a modification in the school calendar. Ano po? Quarter 1, which is supposed to have ended November 28. So ngayon po, extended na po until December 12. Quarter 2 shall be from January 4 to February 27. And quarter 3 shall be from March 1 to April 24. And quarter 4 shall be from April 26 to June 11. So our school year ends on June 11, 2021. And still according to this memo, OUCI number 132, the week of December 14 to 19 will be devoted to in-service training. So ito na po ang ginagawa natin ngayon. All right. Now, what are suggested topics for or activities for the Inset? So sabi dito, this Inset may include MELCS-based quarter 2 planning for distance learning delivery modalities. So based down on the retrieve modules in quarter 1, you go over, you determine the data. Of course, you'll be able to gather data from the retrieve modules. Okay. And then, so from this, you study the data you gathered, and this can be taken up in this Inset. Okay. Now, in addition, the week may also be used for other activities at the regional office, schools division office, and school levels to assess the implementation of the contextualized learning continuity plan, LCP, and gather evidences as basis for plan adjustment. Okay, so we know that you have your basic education learning continuity plan. So, you go over the accomplishment. This is in particular for the school head and for the assistant principals and department heads. So you should have already gone over your BELCP and determine how far have you gone considering the accomplishments there in the different elements. Okay. And then this can also be a source of the inset for this week. Okay. Now, but for the SDO, we deem it necessary that you include in your inset this week assessment. Okay. So we have DepEd Order 31. That's all about interim assessment. So assessment po ito, there are some modification in assessment, particularly for this school year, for the pandemic time only. Pero po ang assessment, susundin pa din natin karamihan sa DepEd Order 8, Series 2015. Yun pa din po. But for modification, considering the pandemic time, these are contained in DepEd Order 31. Okay. Now, based on the assessment, external stakeholders and partners, LGUs, private organizations and individuals, they may be tapped to provide much needed support like materials, equipment, and mechanism, among others to help teachers, learners, and parents in addressing the challenges in distance and home-based learning. Okay, so they may provide solar lamps to energize, to be given to unenergized homes, study tables, electronic gadgets, prepaid internet cards, school supplies, other logistical support. Okay. Sabi baga natin, ang Brigada Eskwela is on a whole year basis. Okay. So coordination with barangay or purok officials on matters related to child safeguarding and child protection shall be strengthened. Okay. So these are some measures to reduce stress and anxiety among our learners. Now, by the way, along the last statement here, coordination with barangay purok official on matters related to child safeguarding and child protection shall be strengthened. Kasi po, nag-aaral baga ang mga bata sa bahay. But some parents may not give them the time to really study and then do the modules. Ang iba dyan, baga pigpapalaba, pigpapaaling. Okay, so this has to be known by the school. So pwedeng magtanong sa barangay officials. Kasi may nangyayari and we need to protect our children also. Kasi baka hindi na sila makasagot ng modules because parents may think na nasa harong ka man sa ngayon, then you do the chores. Okay. So we need to determine if we have children in this situation. So coordinate with our barangay or purok officials along this matter. Okay. So those were the measures to reduce stress and anxiety among our learners. Okay. And the next topic, which is integrative assessment, per DepEd Order 31, Series 2020, this will help us and then our learners to be able to reduce stress, anxiety in the teaching and learning process in this pandemic time. Okay. So itong integrative assessment po, gagaan ang buhay ng kaunti ng teachers, gagaan din ang buhay ng kaunti ng mga learners. Okay. So what is this integrative assessment? Okay. So umpisan ko muna po dito. According to DepEd Order 30, Series 2020, along assessment, sa DepEd Order 31 po, ang assessments doon ay dalawa na lang. Okay. Ano po yun? Written works and performance tasks. Previously po baga, in DepEd Order number 15, for summative assessments, we have 3 kinds of summative assessments which are graded. Iyo po. So let it be understood po or please be reminded na meron tayong dalawang klase ng assessments. Yung formative at saka ang summative. Now, those assessments you have in the modules, those are considered formative. Iyo po, formative. Hindi yun gigradean. Okay, bakit? One thing, there is, key to correction, appended or together with the module. So sabihin naman natin na we trust our learners, that they are also honest. I know you have instructed the parents, you have oriented the parents that the learner should not be looking at the key to correction before answering, pero nangyayari po iyan na ang mga bata tumitingin doon sa answer keys. Okay. Ano po ang proof? Sabi ng ibang teachers, nung binasa daw nila yung mga sagutang papel, meron daw doon na ngaya. So, yung answer ng bata, answers may vary. So, kinopya, kasi doon sa answer key, kasi maraming mga sagot na pwede, kaya nilagay ng teacher ay answers may vary. So, ang kinopya naman ng bata for that particular number, answers may vary. So, that's a concrete evidence na tumitingin talaga ang bata doon sa answer key. Okay. So, all of the assessments, the learning tasks in the modules are considered formative. Iyo po. Kaya po baga kayo, ang mga teachers, you are, or you should be giving summative assessment doon na ibibigay nyo together with the modules. Okay. Kayo ang gagawa. Kasi you know your learners. So your summative assessment should not be a one-size-fits-all. Iyo po. Sabi baga natin, to ensure that there is academic ease, ang learner dapat bigyan ng assessment na talagang according to the ability of the learners. Okay. So summative assessments po, dalawa lang. Okay. According to DepEd Order 31. That's interim assessment. Interim assessment. Only for this year. So wala po tayong quarterly assessment. This is not included. So you may ask, what about the 20%? Yung 20% po na supposed to be or allotted for quarterly assessment. Ipapalista po iniduman sa written works. Okay, so 10% will go to the written work and another will go to the performance tasks. So meron pa din tayong 100% for the summative assessments. Okay po? All right. So just a review of assessment. Written works. So this is one kind of summative test na bibigyan ng grado. Now, this is to assess essential knowledge and understanding through quizzes and long unit tests. Okay. So ito po ang written works. Now, just a reminder din po, let us ensure that the quizzes, the long tests that we are giving should not be on the first level of the cognitive process dimension. Ma'am Laarni, ilan ba ang levels of cognitive process dimensions? Di ba may 6? Ano? Pero wag naman po na doon lang kayo sa level 1 na puro identify, matching type, enumerate. Let us please take note that even if it's pandemic, we still need to develop the 21st century skills of our learners. Critical thinking, ano pa, creativity, communication, collaboration. These are the 4 important forces for 21st century. Or the 21st century skills. So wag wag nating bibigyan ng ating learners na puro na silang identify, ngaya sampulo, true or false. Okay, they'll be bored. Okay, multiple choice, wag po. Okay. So, let your quizzes or include in your quizzes and long unit tests yung mga nasa higher levels of cognitive, in the cognitive process dimension. Mga ano po yun? Oh, nakalimutan. Yung 6, may application, integration, parang synthesizing, okay. So you go over po, you go creating, okay. So yun po. So dapat ang ating mga quizzes will be along the different cognitive process dimension. Huwag masyado po doon sa remembering. Yan, yun ang pinakauna, pinakasimple. Huwag po tayo mag-dwell doon. Kasi we need to give learning tasks or assessments that will trigger the higher order thinking skills of our learners. All right. Now, performance tasks. What's the basis for giving performance tasks? Ano po do ang basis? Of course, your basis would be the MELCs, di ba? Sa MELCs. Okay, sa curriculum guide. So doon po, baga sa MELCs, very well nakalagay po doon yung content standards. Ano nga ang content standards? These are what our learners should learn. Okay. Then, yung MELCs that they need to learn. What's the other standard? The other standard is performance standards. Okay. What are they going to do to show that they have learned the competency? Nandoon po yun. Ang iba pong mga MELCs, nakalagay na doon kung ano ang performance na dapat ipagawa sa bata. Alright. And what about the learning competencies, the MELCs? What is the meaning of MELCs? Most essential learning competencies. Ito po na MELCs, pinasaradit siya na content standards. Di po ba? Pinasaradit. Okay. So, talking about performance tasks, assessment tasks that allow learners to show what they know and are able to do in diverse ways. So, proof that they have learned the competency. Okay. So, they may create or innovate products. Okay, do performance-based tasks, skills demonstrations, group presentations, oral work, multimedia presentations, and research projects. Okay, so it is important to note that written outputs may also be considered as performance tasks, according to DO8, Series 2015, pages 7 to 8. Okay, ano ang mga halimbawa ng written outputs that may be considered as performance tasks? Speech, for example, essays, pwede siya. This also can be considered as performance tasks. Okay, so please teachers, you go over, I know or I hope that you have with you your milks. Ang atin bagang, okay, by the way po, ang pag-lesson ng milks, that's another way of ensuring or fostering academic ease. Dati-dati po baga, ilan ang milks natin? 10,000 plus for all of the subjects in all grade levels. Okay, so ngayon po, parang nagbawas siya ng 50% or more. Parang 5,000 plus na lang for all of the grade levels and all subject areas. Okay. Now, performance tasks must be designed to provide opportunities for learners to apply what they are learning in real-life situations. Okay, so real-life situations. Paano ba ito? Okay, for example, nag-lesson ka ng interpreting tables, graphs. Okay. Now, so that's the MELC for English. Okay. Now, how are you going to apply that in real life situation? Paano ba? Okay, sabi ni Ma'am Laarni, okay, pag nagbasa siya ng electric bill, mai-apply niya yon. Okay. And another, when we give performance task, we see to it that the performance task will be on a particular life situation. So mamaya, ibigay ko na yung example kung binigay ko doon sa integrative assessment. Okay. Yung ibinigay ko na situation is the past facts about the increasing number of teenage marriages. Okay. So doon nagbigay ng table, ng graphs. Okay. So ang gagawin doon ng learner ay i-explain niya yon to a particular group of adolescents. Okay. So that is applying what the learners or the learner has learned, the MELS learned in the classroom to a real life situation. Anyway, mamaya po, I have the entire example. Okay, so real life situations. Ano po, halimbawa baga, nagturo ka, ang MELC mo ay parang all about typhoons or all about earthquakes. Parang nakita ko yan, may MELC niyan doon sa Earth and Life Science sa senior high school. Okay, now how can you relate that to real life situation? So you can let your learners make a plan. Okay, what is your plan if an earthquake occurs? Okay, so that is applying the MELC learned in school to real life situation. Yun naman talaga po ang essence na ang itinuturo natin sa school, kailangan ma-realize ng bata na ay kailangan ko pala ito sa aking buhay. Okay. So, it's in addition, teachers should take into consideration the following. Each task must be accompanied with clear directions and appropriate scoring tools. Okay. So, very important po ito. Pag nagbigay kayo ng performance task, kailangan merong accompanying clear directions and appropriate scoring tools. Ano po itong appropriate scoring tools? They may be checklists, rubrics, rating scale in order to help learners demonstrate their learning. So in DepEd order number 31, ang kapal po nito, more than 200 pages. Kasi parang this is already a resource book. And there are very many annexes. Annex C contains the sample scoring tools. So, pag nagbigay po tayo ng performance task, see to it na klarado din ang ating scoring tool. Kasi baga, importante din sa bata na magawa niya ng mahusay yung performance or product. Bakit? Our learners are also after the grades. Some of them even are after awards or rewards. So we need to really ensure na na we are giving them we are giving them correct, we are giving them appropriate standards or scoring tools for the performances that they are doing or they are going to do. Okay. Now, DepEd Order 31, Series 2020, page 4, states that teachers are advised to collaboratively design and implement performance tasks that integrate two or more competencies within or across subject areas. So ito na po ang tinatawag natin na integrative assessment. So, teachers will collaborate. They will design and implement performance tasks, integrating two or more competencies within or across subject areas. Let us not attempt to integrate all of the MELCs in all of the subjects. Imposible po yun. That's impossible. Okay. So, along this, what should teachers do? Ang teachers po in a particular class should meet and work together. Okay. And then they determine alin sa mga MELCs nila ang pwedeng pagsamahin. Okay. So this is on integrative assessment, collaboratively designing and implementing performance tasks. Okay. So learners must be given flexibility in the accomplishment of the performance task to consider time and resources available to them. So they must be given flexibility, okay, in the accomplishment of the performance task. Okay. Now, let us go to Annex 8, Guidelines for Teachers in Determining the Appropriate Performance Task for a Learning Standard. It is strongly suggested that teachers use innovative and suitable techniques in designing and planning performance tasks. Now, you have the list in Annex B, which may serve as guide in choosing or deciding what performance task is most appropriate for a certain learning standard. And it is recommended that teachers conceptualize and contextualize performance tasks depending on the needs and nature of their learners. Okay. Now, we have two modalities in Tnhs. We have online and we have modular. So, meron pang modular pero digital. Pero modular pa din yon. Okay. Now, so teachers will have in determining the performance task, teachers will consider the modality. Iyo po. So kung online siya, dapat appropriate din for online. Magpa-vlog ka or whatever. Hindi ka magpapagawa ng vlog doon sa vlog ba? Tama ba? Okay. Hindi ka magpapagawa ng vlog doon sa modular. Kaya nga ni sila ng modular kasi wala silang access to internet and they do not have the gadgets. Okay. So flexibility. Okay. Now, the following are the general characteristics of a performance task that is complex, authentic, and appropriate to the learning targets. This is according to Maktai et al. 2020. So, characteristics of performance tasks. Number one, it heeds the application of knowledge and skills and not just recall or recognition of a concept. Okay, not just recall or recognition of the concept. A performance task should be an evidence of the learner's understanding and analysis of the lesson. Okay. So, hindi lang po siya recalling or recognition of a concept. Sabi nga natin, ang performance task, that is showing that your learner understood the lesson. Okay. nagturo ka, ang MELF mo for example sa HE, sa TLEI, determining the healthy foods. Okay, yun ang tinuro mo. Okay, ano ang performance or product na ipapagawa mo? So probably, pwede mo pagpagawin ang bata ang klase ng ano, ng plano niya on what to eat for 1 week. Healthy foods to eat for 1 week. And foods that should be avoided, which are not healthy. So nagpagawa ka ng plano, sa bata. So that's an example of a product. That is an example. And pag ang mga bata nakagawa ng tama, so we say that there is learning. Pero kung ang ginawa ng bata, nandun pa rin ang junk foods sa mga kakainin niya, failure ang guro. Hindi natuto ang bata doon sa competency. So yan po ang isang characteristic. So it is not limited to a single correct answer. Performance tasks should encourage creativity and individuality among learners and should diminish the notion that there is only one correct way of thinking or there is only one way of solving problems. Okay. So pag nagpagawa po kayo ng performance task, ensure that there will be variety of products. There will be variety of performances. Kaya nga po ang paggrado natin dyan, meron tayong rubric na meron ngayang you have one particular you have the criteria and then you have the indicators. May indicators na para sila mabigyan ng 5, may indicators para sila mabigyan ng 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Bakit? Kasi po, ang performance, hindi ko sabihin na isa lang ang tamang sagot. There may be different answers. However, their grades would also vary depending on how they are able to do the performance or the product. Okay. And in here, when we let them do performance tasks, we let them become creative. Ang mga bata ngayon, they are very, very creative. Hindi man natin yung naiisip, pero naisip nila. So they are more creative than us. Okay, ang generation nila. Okay. So they would enjoy doing performance tasks. They would even enjoy that rather than doing the unit test, the long test. At ang mga performances nila, yun ang hindi nila makalimutan. Hindi nila yun makalimutan. Ako nga noon ng grade 1, ako in one of our Christmas programs, naalala ko, nag-dress ako ng Christmas tree, yung crepe paper baga, may cup ako dyan, may mga nakabitay-bitay ako dyan. Naalala ko pa din yung isang linya na, ako ay Christmas tree sa Pasko'y sagisag. May mga Christmas cards. Okay, something like that. Naalala ko yun. That's a performance. Pero I did not remember any of the summative tests, any of the quizzes I took in elementary, even in high school or in college. So ganyan po, our learners would remember their performances. Okay. Now, number 3, it should be contextualized based on real-life problems. An authentic performance task should mirror realistic conditions where students can pose possible solution. Okay. So, real-life problems. Magbibigay tayo ng real-life situation. Alam ko, you have been doing this. Iya po. May libro nga baga sa English, I think it's grade 9, na nandyan na yung performance task. There are rubrics already. Kaya lang po itong discussion natin ngayon, this is quite different. Why? Because we'll be integrating subjects. Okay, we'll be thinking of one performance. However, we integrate at least 3 MELFs in 3 subjects. Yun po ang pagkakaiba. Now, number 4, it should provide proof of the learner's understanding through transfer. An appropriate performance task should subject the learners to a new situation where they can apply the concept they have learned. So ang teachers po, you'll be creating situations. Ayo. So ang situation na po yan, parang you will let them dream. You let them foresee themselves 5 or 10 years from now. And they would enjoy that. Ma-enjoy nila yan. Ngaya, okay, ngaya. For example, ngaya, you are an engineer and you were invited to talk in Tabaco National High School during, okay, mga something like that. Ano, we create situation and we foresee them in their future life, maybe nga 5 years after, or okay, basta ganun po, ano? Okay, we create new situation. So, dapat nga po, pag gumawa tayo ng integrative assessment, dramahan natin ang sitwasyon. Bigyan natin ng drama. Kasi they would enjoy imagining, ay, ako pala ngaya, pwede ngayang several years from now, ano na ngaya ako? God focal person sa LGU. Maring ako ngaya ay SK chairman na after 5 years or 3 years. And that would inspire them. That would inspire them to work hard in order to reach those situations. Now, another, it should be multifaceted or multi-procedural. Performance tasks should involve multiple steps and standards to evaluate several learning targets. Okay. So, multi-procedural. Okay. And then, they should involve multiple steps and standards. Okay, in order to evaluate several learning targets. Anyway, mamaya may examples ako niyan. Now, another, it should be integrative with other learning areas. Integrative with other learning areas. Pero po, just a warning, do not attempt to integrate all kasi you are in for a very, very big problem. Hindi lang ikaw, pati yung bata na gagawa noon, mamumroblema siya. Okay. And let us not forget, the development of the 21st century skills. Iyo po. So, even if the time is not normal, even if we are facing crisis, but let us not also forget that in the teaching and learning process, we ensure that the 21st century skills of our learners are developed. So, wag po natin isipin na basta sana ngayon makataok yung modules, basta sana ngayon maka-assess. Hindi po ganun. Kasi marami din tayong mga bata na very, very serious. Okay, in answering the modules. Di ba may kwento si Ma'am Kuray that one fatality two fatalities during Typhoon Rolly in Catanduanes. These are two mag-ama. Okay, so bumalik yung bata para kunin ang module sa bahay. So nagkataon na nag-landslide. So ganyan kaseryoso ang iba nating mga bata. Okay. And even parents, during the typhoon, some said na yung kapitbahay namin, ako ngaya po ngaya, pinatos ko nga ito sa plastic, ikinaag ko pa ngaya sa Durabox, iyo. So bago pa nila sinecure yung iba, sinecure muna yung modules. Okay. So we really need to ensure that we are also thinking of our learners in the pursuit of their teaching and learning process. Okay. Sabi pa dito, a good performance task exposes the need of applying knowledge from other learning areas. Okay, yan. Other learning areas and showcase their 21st century skills. Meaningful learning is achieved when the learners are assessed in a way that they are encouraged to see how learning areas are interconnected. Okay. So sa pag-interconnect natin ng mga competencies, we ensure also, teachers should also ensure that they are assessed. Iyo po, lahat ng MELCs na yon ay assessed pa din. Baka mamaya, ang MELCs na included in the performance ay tatlo, pero inassess mo lang yung isa. What happened to the others? Okay, anyway, I have a sample for that later. Now, another is, it should have a clear and well-established scoring rubrics, guideline with relevant criteria. So, dapat po may rubric tayo, may criteria tayo. So, sinabi na natin ang kahalagahan ng rubric and criteria. Di po ba? Pag face-to-face nga baga, ang dapat ay mag-agree ang learners at saka ang teacher as to the rubric. Di ba, Ma'am Larnie? Dapat mag-agree kayo. Okay, pero ngayon, there is no way na mag-agree ang learner at ang teacher sa rubric. Kaya, ayusin na lang po na mabuti ng teachers ang rubrics. So, an appropriate performance task does not yield to a single correct answer. Hence, it should provide a clear description of how learners are graded and evaluated. A well-established scoring tool enables an objective-based evaluation, which also gauges varying levels of proficiency. Okay. Now, ang integrative assessment po follows the GRASPs. Alam ko, alam nyo yan, master nyo na yan, di ba? When we had, ano ba yun, RBEC, we used the GRASPs. Why? Kasi ang nag-UBD po baga tayo noon. Ano nga ang UBD? UBD? Understanding by Design. Yung inverted design. Yan po, inverted design. So alam ko, alam na alam nyo ito. Alright. So what does GRASPs mean? Okay. G stands for goal. R stands for role. A stands for audience. S for situation. And the other, nawala yung P, grasps. Okay. Nawala yung P, sorry. Ano ang P before standards, products, or performance? Sorry po, nawala yung P. So, goal, role, audience, situation, performance or product, and standards. Okay. Now, may I now give you a sample integrative assessment. This is for grade 8 learners in modular distance learning. Now, ang focus po niya is quarter 2, week 6. So, meaning po, ang mga MELCs po niya ay nasa quarter 2, week 6. By the way, you may ask, ilan bang integrative assessment ang dapat gawin in 1 quarter? Now, in our training last week, we decided po na 2 lang na integrative assessment. But of course, you also give products, performances, pero hindi integrative. Kasi nga, madugo ang integrative assessment. So, tama na ang 2 in 1 quarter. Okay. So, here is an example. Now, for the goal, write a speech on the topic, making the right and values-based decisions in preparation for responsible parenthood. Okay, tanungin ko po kayo, ano ba, real life ba siya? Yes, real life. Okay, so, to let the audience understand that responsible parenthood is important for a healthy family life, you should apply the knowledge learned in 3 subjects. So, direction na po ito sa bata. Instruction na po ito sa bata. So, sabi dito, you should apply the knowledge learned in 3 subjects. So, dito pa lang po sa goal, i-enumerate nyo na yung mga MELCs that will be used for the goal, for the integrative assessment. Okay. Ito po yung first MEL. Explain visual, verbal relationships illustrated in the table. So this is a MEL in English grade 8. Okay, quarter 2, week 6. Okay, now, this is important. A table on fast facts about teenage marriages will be provided. Wag na ninyong pahanapin pa yung mag-aaral ng table about teenage marriages. O, sabi tabaga, fostering academic is. Pag pinahanap pa nindo, dipisil. Wala nang academic is. Academic difficulty again. Okay. So yung teacher po mag-provide. Ako nga po naghanap ako, nakakuha ako, mamaya ipakita ko sa inyo. Okay. So that's the first milk. Milk in English. The second milk is give and describe the factors that contribute to a successful marriage. So ito naman po ay milk sa ESP. Quarter 2, week 6. Ang hirap maghanap, magtahi-tahi. Pero kaya nyo yan. Okay. Now, another milk, ang the third milk for math. Uy, nakakuha ako sa math. Masaya. Minsan kasi baga mahirap i-integrate ang milk sa math sa other subjects. Okay. Anong milk ito? Communicate mathematical thinking with coherence and clarity in formulating and analyzing arguments. Okay. Mathematical thinking. Okay. Coherence and clarity. So, in analyzing arguments. So, here, help, sabi dito sa instruction, help the adolescents analyze the effects of unprepared marriage by using the pattern if and then. Doon po sa milk ng math, nakalagay yun by using the pattern if, then. Pattern. Ano yun? Cause-effect relationship. Okay. So, in this example, a speech will be made by the learner. Okay. Ano ang title? Ano ang topic? Making the right and values-based decisions in preparation for responsible parenthood. And how many milks were integrated? 3 po. Sa English, sa ESP, at saka sa mathematics. There is only one product. Iyo po. Pero, i-assess mo ang 3 competencies in 3 subjects. Now, ano ang role ng bata? Ano ang role ng learner? You are the gender and development or God focal person in LGU Tabaco City. Yun ang role niya. Gagawa siya ng speech, okay, on the topic. Yun ang role niya. Alright. And what about the audience? Ang audience niya ay group of adolescents in your purok. They will listen to your talk. Okay. So, yun ang audience. Ito ang situation. It is the celebration of Values Education Month. As the Gender and Development Focal Person in LGU Tabaco City, you were invited to talk on the topic, making the right and values-based decisions in preparation for responsible parenthood to adolescents in your purok. Because of the 47 barangays in Tabaco, your barangay has the biggest number of teenage marriages. Okay, yun ang situation. Yeah. So you are going to talk, or your learner will have to talk on the topic to some adolescents in the purok. Okay. So yun po ang situation. Now, ano po ang performance or product? So the product is speech titled Making the Right and Values-Based Decisions in Preparation for Responsible Parenthood. This is to be delivered in 3 minutes. So gusto sabihin, mahaba-haba. Okay, ito ang procedure. Bigyan ninyo ng procedure. Kasi dito, doon sa rubric, meron akong organization. So, it is just fair na mag-rate sa organization kasi binigyan ko siya ng procedure. So, ano ang procedure? Start with statistics on fast facts about teenage pregnancy in the Philippines to be provided by the English teacher. Okay. Explain the table well. So, dito napapasok yung competency. Ano nga ang competency yon? Explain table. Di ba yun ang competency? Okay. Now, second procedure. Give and describe the factors that contribute to a successful marriage. So ito po, ang gusto sabihin nito, itong mga milks na ito, na-discuss na ng teachers sa modules. So gusto sabihin po, yung ESP grade 8, na-discuss na yung factors that contribute to successful marriage. Okay. So that's the second procedure. Third procedure, help the adolescents analyze the causes, effects of unprepared marriage by using the pattern, if then. So sa math naman po yon. So it is also expected na yung mathematics teacher ay nagturo na nito, use of the if and then pattern. Okay. So yun po ang performance or product. So dito po sa performance or product, please give detailed instruction as to how are they going to do the performance or the product. Okay. Ito naman, punta na tayo sa last, sa S. What is S? Standards. Or yung rubrics. Now, by the way po, ang atin pong standards, dapat hindi siya palaging 100%. Mag-assign po tayo ng particular point. Okay. So, ngayon dito ngayon sa product na ito, 20 points siya. Okay. So, ito na po ang criteria. Okay. Actually, I thought of criteria number 1 yung content. Criteria number 2, yung organization, criterion. Pigiling ako ni Laarni. The first criterion is content. The second is organization. The third is audience. And the last is timeliness. So, tingnan po natin ang mga indicators. So, for content, 60% siya. Bakit 60%? Pag banga-bangaon mo duman sa tulo, sa English, sa math, and then sa ESP. Okay. Indicator, para mabigyan ang learner ng 4. The visual, verbal relationships in the table was fully and clearly explained. Saan po itong na-melt? Sa English, the visual, verbal relationships in the table was fully and clearly explained. Kailan siya magiging 3? The visual verbal relationships in the table was partially and less clearly explained. Kailan siya bibigyan ng 2? The visual verbal relationships in the table was partly and least explained. Mas marami-rami na ang partial, di ba, kaysa partly. And when will the learner get 1? The visual verbal relationships in the table was not explain. Maski hindi na-explain, meron pa din 1. Friendly baga tayo? Okay, that's for content in English. Okay. Now, the next is for ESP. 80 to 100% of factors that contribute to a successful marriage given and described clearly. So kung meron na 10 na factors that contribute to a successful marriage, dapat, ilan ba ang, dapat may 8 or 10. Kung nakapagbigay ang learner ng 8, at saka yun ay na-describe niya clearly, bibigyan siya ng 4. Okay. Kailan siya bibigyan ng 3? 60 to 79% of factors that contribute to a successful marriage given and described less clearly. So kung nakabigay lang siya ng ilan, 6? Basta 60 to 79%. Ayoko nang magkwenta. Alright. Now, when will the learner be given to 40 to 59% of the factors that contribute to a successful marriage given but not clearly described? And when will the learner get 1? Okay, 20 to 39% of factors that contribute to a successful marriage given but not described. Inano sa niya? Pig-enumerate sana niya, hindi dinescribe. Okay. So, ito po. So, meron na tayong 2 indicators for the 2 MELCs, English and then ESP. We now go to math. Okay. Dito naman tayo sa math. Alright. Indicator for 4. Communicate mathematical thinking with coherence and clarity in formulating and analyzing arguments using the if-then pattern. Okay. With coherence, with clarity. Okay. Now, kailan siya bibigyan ng 3? Communicate mathematical thinking with less coherence and less clarity in formulating and analyzing arguments using the if-then pattern. Okay. When will the learner get 2? Okay. Under 2, communicate mathematical thinking with least coherence and least clarity in formulating and analyzing arguments using the if-then pattern. And 1, communicate mathematical thinking with no coherence and no clarity in formulating and analyzing arguments using the if-then pattern. So under content, which will be given 60%, the three milks were given indicators. Okay. So wala tayong na-miss. Wala tayong hindi na-assess doon sa tatlong milks along content. Okay. So next is organization. Bakit ako nagbigay ng criterion na organization? Kasi nagbigay ako ng format. Pero kung hindi po kayo nagbigay ng format, huwag kayong magbibigay ng, huwag niyong isasali ang organization kasi it's not fair. Hindi ka nagturo, bakit ka mag-assess? Okay. So, indicator for 4 points. Ideas are logically organized. There is a smooth flow of thought and the given format was followed. 3, ideas are fairly arranged for smooth flow of thought. The given format was followed. 2, ideas are less organized. The given format was followed. Then 1, ideas are least organized. Format was not followed. That's for organization, which is 20%. Now, audience. Kasi meron baga tayong audience doon. 10%. The speech is delivered to 8 to 10 adolescents in the family community. Magtatanong kayo, paano ko maaraman na igwang 8-10 na nagdangog kan sa iyang speech? Okay, dito sa timeliness, I have there, a copy of the speech will be submitted with names and signatures of the audience. So magtatanong kayo, hindi ba ito against IATF rules, health rules? Hindi naman, kasi pwede naman baga mag-gather ang 8 to 10 of observing, distancing, proper distancing. At magtutok naman siya, doon lang naman sa neighborhood, sa purok niya. Okay po. So, indicator under audience to be given 3. The speech is delivered to 5 to 7 adolescents in the family or community. Now 2, the speech is delivered to 2 to 4 adolescents in the family community. And 1, the speech is delivered to 1 adolescent in the family or community. So this is for audience as one of the criteria for 10%. Now the last criterion is timeliness, 10% also. Now 4, the copy of the speech is submitted on time with names and signatures of audience. So kung nag-claim ka na ngaya, kung meron kang audience na 10, dapat meron din names and signature of the audience. For 3, the copy of the speech is submitted 1 day after the due date with names and signatures of audience. Now 2, the copy of the speech is submitted 3 days after the due dates with names and signatures of audience. And 1, the copy of the speech is submitted 5 days after the due date with names and signatures of audience. So yan po ang standards natin. Okay, yan po ang rubrics. Okay, so the total is 100%. Okay. So what's important with the rubric is that it should measure all of the marks included in the product or performance. So warning lang po, marami tayong klase ng rubrics. Pero po, let this just be our guide, our reference. Kasi po, i-contextualize din natin ang rubric natin doon sa product, doon sa ginamit mong marks in order for the product or performance to be done. Okay. So talaga pong pag-uusapan. Okay. So, ito po, may I repeat the marks in the 3 subjects for grade 8, second quarter, week 8. So, for English, explain visual verbal relationships illustrated in the table. The other milk is give and describe the factors that contribute to a successful marriage. Milk in ESP. And the last milk is communicate mathematical thinking with coherence and clarity in formulating and analyzing arguments by using the pattern if then. This is a milk in math. Okay. And nasabi ko po baga kanina, let's foster academic ease. Huwag na nating pahanapin ang learner ng ng facts about teenage pregnancy in the Philippines, bigyan na ng concerned subject teacher. So for example, in this example, nagbigay na ako ng graphs on the fast facts kasi yung learner siya ay mag-explain noon on the first part of the speech. Okay. Oh, may data na. So ganun po. So let us still think of academic ease among our learners. So from here, ito baga maganda naman yung appropriate naman po doon sa speech. Yung naka-append, yung naka-include doon sa module na data. Okay. So, tapos na po ako. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Ang susunod po ay ang workshop. Okay. Now, there may be questions along integrative assessment. Okay. So, sabi ko baga kanina, nag-anticipate na po ako kasi questions din ito last week. Sabi nila, what if ang nagawa lang na, or ang na-marry lang na MELCs ay sa 3 subjects? What will happen to the other subjects? So, maggagawa pa din po ng another performance capturing 2 or 3 MELCs of 2 or 3 subjects. May tanong, halimbawa ngayon na dipisilan talaga. Susaro ngayon, may MELC ngayon na dipisilon ngayon in Mary. So let it be. So alone siya. So single blessedness siya. Wala siyang asawa. Ganon naman talaga ang buhay, di ba? Okay, so ganon din po sa integrative assessment. Iyo po. Pero parang hindi naman, parang possible pa rin na may ma-marry tayo na MELCs in 2 or more subject areas. So another question na tinanong doon ngayon, ilang integrative assessments ang gagawin per quarter? So naka-decide po tayo na 2 lang kasi po mahirap gumawa ng integrative assessment. So 2 lang. Pero po hindi gustong sabihin na 2 lang na performance ang ipapagawa. The teacher should still think of other performances pero hindi na integrative, Ma'am Ding. Hindi na siya integrative. Performance lang ngayon for English lang. Hindi mo na mag-integrate. Kasi nga, mahirap ang integrative assessment. Okay. And if you would go over DepEd Order 31, ang sabi doon, ilang written work, ilang performance. So nakalagay po doon na at least 4 performance or products and then at least 4 written works. Kasi doon na baga iikot yung grado ng bata. Wala nang quarterly assessment, so yung 24 quarterly assessment, yung 10 pupunta sa written work, yung another 10 would go to the products or performance.
Sabi mo kung may 2 ng integrative assessments, 2 na lang ang gagawin.
Yes po. Okay. Kung meron na pong 2 integrative assessment, may 2 na lang. Yung pwede ding integrative pero po MELC sa particular subject. Kasi actually, meron tayong 2 integrative assessments. One is, the teacher will integrate 2 or more MELCs in 1 subject. Integrative din po yon. Pero ang medyo mas mahirap na integrative assessment, yung i-integrate mo ang 2 MELCs for 2 subjects or more. Mahirap po siya. Kaya talaga there's a need for the teachers of a class to collaboratively do the performance task. Mag-iisip ng isang particular product na kung saan yung 3 o 2 MELCs ay incorporated.
I mean, those 2 subjects and teachers nila, pag ito ang na-merge nila, so in 1, these 2 will have to wait na.
Opo. Okay.
So that's 50 to...
Opo.
Kung may 3 subjects,
Okay. Kung may 3 subjects, syempre yung 3 teachers mag-uusap-usap. Okay. At saka po, pag nagbigay naman kayo ng grado, yung 3 teachers will have to observe or will have to read the product or the performance. Okay. Ang isa pang tanong, parareho ngayon kasi baga Pareho na ngayang grade ang itatao kang 3 teachers. No. Kasi ang focus mo naman, let's say nga doon sa sample ko, sa sample speech, syempre ang bibigyan mo ng diin yung English. Kung ESP naman, ang bibigyan mo ng diin yung the factors enumerated and explained on factors for happy marriage. So, gano'n. Kung sa math ka naman, doon naman sa paggamit ng if and then format. Okay.
Pwede bang magkaroon, halimbawa, because your milk is integrated into perhaps one or two. Pag ma-rate niya ang milk mo, you will have a separate na relate mo man na scoring mo within.
Okay, Ma'am Bing, yung rubric po na puntahan ko yung rubric. Ito pong rubric, doon sa content, covered ko na yung tatlo. Covered na yung tatlo. Kaya mag-iisip talaga ang teacher na para ma-cover niya, okay, yung tatlo. Okay, let's example po for English kasi explaining table baga. So, okay, ang una, the visual verbal relationship in the table was fully and clearly explained sa English yon. Tapos doon naman, partially, less clearly for 3-1. Another is, yung for ESP naman, 80 to 100% of the factors that contribute to a successful marriage given and described clearly. So nakapasok yung ESP. And for math naman, ito yung belt niya, communicate mathematical thinking with coherence and clarity in formulating and analyzing arguments using the if-then pattern. So nakapasok po doon yung the assessment of the 3 melts in 3 subjects. Okay po? Po? Nasa pag-uusap na po ninyo yon kung paano ang pag-grade. Pero ako po, in my personal opinion, think as you are the English teacher, iyo po, kasali ka doon yung milk mo sa product or performance. Look at the aspects of English. Doon ka na lang. Okay. So, kanya-kanya po. Pero ang what is necessary is yung product, babasahin ni English teacher, babasahin ni ESP teacher, babasahin ni math teacher, and they will rate. Wala namang awayan sa rating kasi independent naman kayo. Okay. Una nga, we thought of letting teachers give own rubric. Pero kaya nga ni fostering academic is, okay, academic is not just for learners but for teachers also. Opo.
Parang yung scale ka na lang, na itong na akin na nandoon, titingnan ko ito in a scale of 20 points.
Opo.
So how much do I give for this and this and this? Okay.
Opo. So ganun po ano. So if you have questions, pero alam po ninyo kung may questions kayo, those who attended training last week, kasi po marami din nag-attend from your school, yung department heads, yung mga subject group heads, they were there, they even presented samples, they could help you. Okay. So ito na po ang workshop. Okay, ito po. So form a group. Paano ba? Virtual. Okay, anyway po, sa mga nag-virtual po, mag-isip na kayo kung sino ang kagrupo ninyo. Anyway, for virtual, baga marami din na paraan. Ano ang gagawin? Mag-messenger na lang kayo. Pwede ba ang walo sa messenger? Or mag-chat or whatever. Okay, so form a group. So this group of teachers will be those teaching the same class. Teaching the same class. Iyo po. Kasi ang i-assess ninyo ay yung klase ninyo. The same class. So maghanap kayo ng co-teacher ninyo teaching the same class. Okay. So, sa STEM, sa UMS, TVL, or grade 8, ngaya section 1 or whatever. Have your marks for quarter 2 ready. Iyo po. Have your marks for quarter 2 ready. Go over the marks and decide which can be linked to form an integrative assessment. Iyo po. So you may ask, pwede ngayang i-marry ang marks for week 6, 7, or 8. Sa palagay ko pwede. Anyway, gagawa lang naman kayo ng dalawang integrative assessment in 1 quarter. So kung nahirapan ka doon sa, let's say, tinignan ninyo yung MELCs ninyo sa week 6, doon sa MELCs na yun sa week 6, mahirap i-integrate. Tingnan ang MELCs ng other weeks. Ayun po. Okay. Basta doon kayo nakakoncentrate within the quarter. Opo, within the quarter. Opo. Pag ganyan, marami ng pagpipilian. Meron ka na talagang mame-marry. Meron ka na mapipili. Okay. So, the next is prepare 2 types of integrative assessments. Okay. 2 types. Anyway, for the sake of workshop, para you would have a taste of preparing for online and for modular. Pwede naman na isa lang na performance or product. Magbabari lang siya doon sa manner of presentation. Kasi pag online, meron kang online learners, syempre ma'am, pipili ka din ng ano ba? Hindi nga speech. If it is a speech, pwedeng ang situation is you are going to deliver it virtually. So magbabari po ang sa ibang bagay. Okay. Opo. All right. So, at saka po kung meron kayong product or performance for online, lagyan niyo po ng creativity. Creativity. 'Di ba po? Lagyan niyo ng criteria na 'yon. Sa modular, mahirap ang creativity. Kaya nagbabari din po ang rubric ninyo for online and modular integrative assessments. Opo. Now, yung mga graphics, ganun. Okay. Tapos nga for audience, hindi pipirma doon sa speech copy. For audience, dapat makita na ngayon may nag-like, may nag-comment, mga ganun. Isasali po yun doon sa indicators for the criterion audience. Okay. So marami pong modifications. Number of heart. Bahala po kayo sa inyong sa inyong instructions. All right. Number 5, at least 2 MELCs may be captured for 1 integrative assessment. At least 2 MELCs. Pero kung makakapture kayo ng 3, ng 4, pero alam niyo doon sa sample, sa DepEd Order 31 ba yun? Yes. Na-capture niya yung marami, almost siguro mga 6 na MELCs for senior high school. Pero sa totoo lang, kahit ako, nahirapan ako umintindi. Kaya, hindi ko na-follow. Kaya sabi ko, mag-stick na lang tayo sa 3 or 4 na. O, 2 lang. Oo. Opo. Okay. So kung 2 lang, magme-marry kayo ng 2 subjects, 2 MELCs ng 2 subjects for a product, ilan ang integrative assessment ng bata? 4. So that's good enough rather than giving 8. Pero kung pwedeng makatatlo, di masaya ang bata kasi konti na lang ang gagawin niya. Masaya din ang teacher, di ba? Okay po. Now the last here is follow the grasps. Follow the grasps. Okay. So, I think I'm done. And with the workshop, I believe this has to be done in your respective places. Okay. And I'm hoping that you will also be submitting kasi mas maganda din ma-practice natin. And then for the critiquing of your output, those who were present during the training last week can help. Okay. So, kung wala na pong question, I think I'm done with the task assigned to me. Thank you very much. And I hope that we will all work towards the preparation of integrative assessment. Kasi po talagang very, very important po ito. And we see the importance, we see the essence, and we see the beauty of integrative assessments. Okay. So balikan ko yung thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Jill, for that very substantial session. We hope that through the insights that you have imparted today, we will be able to bravely face the demands of the new normal towards an effective and flexible environment for optimum professional and academic gains. Now, to award the certificate of commendation to the doctor's office, we have Ma'am Elena Biasi,
Kopiyon mo na, Nick. Mawala sa ko kang.
be assisted by Ma'am Rebecca Obier. And Ma'am PSDS Agnes Obra.
Ayaw ko tatabi sa patangkad.
So friends, let's give our speaker a virtual clap.
Alat lang, ma-present ako. Parang, naka-open ang camera mo ba? Camera matabi. Mahal na.
Thank you very much. That ends our morning session. We shall have a 1-hour lunch break. Then we will recommence at 1 o'clock p.m. for the workshop. Happy eating, guys.